Some state lawmakers are listening to Michigan physicians and are now taking steps to improving patient access to the best care. They're saying one answer is creating a universal prior authorization form for prescription drugs. And to break that down for you, if this new bill passes, it will speed up your delivery of health care the next time you're at the doctor's office. Dr. Bobby, you're here to talk to us about this a little bit, and you know, you brought all this in. Kind of tell us,
imagine?
Yeah, I know. So apparently thousands of paperwork.
Yeah, I mean, this is all a stack of different prior authorization forms for different medications for different insurance companies, you know, and so, I mean, just the sheer hassle. I mean, I feel bad for my office staff that they would have to, you know, if I write a prescription, you know, I write it because the patient tells me that they've got a condition.
Right.
We talk about it in the exam room, and we make a decision together that, you know, yes, a drug would help, and it would probably be this drug. So let's write you a prescription for it, try it and see what happens, come back in a month, let me know if it works, right? I mean, that's how it's supposed to be.
Right, yeah, you'd think.
But, of course, you know, the patient's got insurance, hopefully, and if the insurance is going to pay for it, then they have a whole extra layer of bureaucracy that basically says, well, yeah, that's fine, I'm glad you think that's a good medication for this patient, but if we're going to pay for it, we want this particular form filled out because it's not first-line therapy or something, you know? And then you got to figure out, okay, well, let's go to their website. Hopefully they got a website. It's not something you got to mail out for. And then you got to find the right form for the right drug, and then you got to print it out, and then you got to fill it out, and then you put in all sorts of information. I mean, sometimes they want to know everything else that's been tried for like a 3-year period and what dose you put them on, and that means you got to dig through all your charts, hopefully, and if you got those records, and then prove and make the case that yes, that's the right drug, and then you got to mail it in, or fax it in, who knows, and then you got to wait. Right. So this patient that ideally thought they were walking out with a prescription, they were hopeful that it was going to work for them, solve their problem, that really would be nice to get it filled that day and start on it, could wait who knows how long for this to come through the other end of that process with an approval, and God forbid it should be denied.
So all this paperwork is kind of weighing the system down, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, it slows the delivery of care, and then it's just that hassle because, you know, sooner or later I'm going to figure out that if I'm writing this particular medication, that it's going to take a while to get that done, right? So I'm going to want to get out of that room a little earlier so that I could start this process, because I know it's going to be a hassle for me and my office staff to fill that out. And it just leads to less concentration of time in the exam room with the patient.
So now what they're trying to do is cut away all these thousands of paperwork with this new legislation out and just go down to like a 2-page universal authorization form.
Right. Because whether or not it's Blue Cross or Cigna or, you know, Priority Health that's going to be covering the medication potentially, they all want to know the same thing, right? And the reason is that whatever it is that I've chosen that needs prior authorization is more expensive than what they would like to try first line. Yeah. Right? Which makes sense. I mean, if we're going to try something that's more expensive, it makes sense to kind of make the case about, you know, why this drug instead of the one that's cheaper. But to have a different form for each one of those guys when they all want to know the same information is just ludicrous.
That's a lot.
So being able to find a form quickly and fill it out just speeds up that whole thing.
A lot easier. Yeah. Well, you know, you mentioned that this was an idea a year ago, and now it's already in the process of, you know, becoming real to you guys.
Exactly. I mean, we hear all this, you know, stuff about how the legislature just is kind of, you know, in this quagmire and slow to adopt all sorts of things, and you know, they're stuck in Washington with these issues with the debt ceiling. But this is just a great example of how the system is meant to work, right? So this was an idea. Came out of the Michigan State Medical Society a year ago because a bunch of doctors kind of got together and we have this annual meeting and we say, you know, this is a big issue for us right now. Let's see what we can do to fix it. Yeah. And we kind of got the sympathetic ear of some senators in Lansing and said, hey, you know, how about a universal form for this? Why don't you see if you can get that done? And here we are less than a year later, and there's already crafted legislation. And we're not saying that it has to be this form that we devised. We're just saying, hey, guys, get together.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, figure out what you guys have to have on it. And which, you know, it'll be ready to pass soon.
Yeah, hopefully. It sounds like a great idea. And, of course, if it's going to speed up our time in the doctor's office, we're for it, right?
Exactly.
So, anything that'll help.
Maybe next time you won't have to wait quite as long when you get there.
Well, we won't talk about that experience I had. And we've already talked about how that probably wasn't the issue.
Well, it might have been. You know, I mean, who knows what made him behind.
We only have we don't really have much time left, but when do you think this is actually going to
Well, it's in committee now in Lansing, which means that, and so far we haven't heard anything about anyone that really is going to stand out to oppose it. But then again, I mean, everybody knows how big insurance lobbies are, right? So all it takes is Blue Cross to say, hey, you know what? We don't want to play in the sandbox with the rest of these guys. We're the big dog here, and we're going to just use our form, and we're going to not support it. And if they felt, you know, adamant about it, then they could kind of derail the whole process. But it's just common sense, right? Which is why the power of the people to kind of call the senators and say, hey, look, let's get this done would trump Blue Cross for sure.
All right.